are live finally with Bingercise. Hey, this is Robert. We're coming on much later than usual. A lot of technical problems, especially with Facebook. Don't know what's going on there. So tonight, I'm going to cover foundation number 2 of Younger Than Last Year, breathing. I'll show you a breathing method for 2, very beneficial for you, as it has been for me and others. And I think with a passage from, I won't say what it is. I'll explain when I get there. But a passage from a book to help us with mindset. Foundation number 1 of Younger Than Last Year. So we're doing part of Foundation 1 and 2 out of the 7. The first 2. So breathing. What's one of the things we do most often? It's breathe, right? The only other things we do more often is think and probably voluntary things or involuntary. We think about things without even knowing we're doing it. Heartbeat, other things like that. But breathing is something that we do from that very first breath when we're born up until that very last one till we die, with a whole lot of breathing going on in between those two. So how you breathe can make or break a lot of things in your life. First of all, how you age, how you feel, digestion, blood pressure, heart rate, reactions to stress, muscle tightness, how you think, move, all kinds of different things. Why? Because breathing's connected to everything in your body, much more than you might think it is. It's more than just taking oxygen in and taking air and pushing air out, used air out. So a lot of people, we're going to go over this. I'm going to get right to the point. A lot of people don't breathe well at all, and it's to their detriment. Most breathing either happens way up here in the chest or strictly here in this part of the chest, and it's very shallow, and much of the breathing goes, in fact, without me saying anything else. Let's test how you breathe naturally. I want you to just breathe in right away when I count to 3. Just breathe in. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Now, here's the question I'm going to ask you. Where did you breathe in? Did you breathe in through your nose or your mouth? Which one? If you breathe in through your mouth, we got to fix it. If you breathe in through your nose, we're partway there, or maybe almost all the way there for you. We'll find out. Why would you not want to breathe in through your mouth? Because when you breathe in through your mouth, it tends to get about this much air in. It doesn't travel down to those deep part of your lungs, which I'll get to in a minute. It mostly stays up here, causing kind of a fight or flight reaction. I've gone over this before. The sympathetic nervous system that's built into us for fight or flight, danger, right? Heart rate goes up, start sweating, digestion shuts down, blood pressure goes up, stress hormones go surging, muscles tighten up. All this stuff happens. Blood rushes to the muscles we need and away from the things, organs and other things you need. And if you're breathing like this all day, think about it. You'd be under that fight or flight, just under the radar, not as much as like you're running from a T-Rex in Jurassic Park or something like that, but a low level of fight or flight all day. And you might even be doing it while you sleep, maybe not even sleeping well. And it also means you'd be doing it while you're exercising. So let's say you do a lot of aerobic exercise. A lot of people out there breathing very badly, doing aerobic exercise, probably doing more harm to themselves than good. Sounds like I'm blowing a lot of hot air? Maybe. You determine that. I mean, only you can decide, but I would say you really should give it a good effort to find out, to see how it feels, see how it works for you before you poo-poo it and dismiss it. It's the second foundation for a reason, because my experience has taught me, and others I've learned from through the years, their experience taught them the same thing. Breathing's way up there as far as our health and how it ties in, how we digest the food we eat, how strong we are, how well we move, how well we think, how well we sleep, all these different things. And those vice versa can affect breathing too. Funny, isn't it, how they all are tied together, talking to each other. So why would you rather breathe down in the lower part of the lungs? Because down there is all these nerves, and that's where your diaphragm is as well. And that gets that opposite of the sympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest, the parasympathetic nervous system flowing. And if you breathe in through your nose, which we're going to try in just a second, you'll find that it naturally tends to pull, the air tends to go deeper into your lungs down here, into the lower part. So let's try that. Close your mouth and just breathe in through your nose one time. Did you feel how it went lower down? Instead of staying up here with your, just try it with an open mouth. Notice you can't get much air in, and most of it stays up here. Now, close your mouth and breathe in. Notice how it moves way down here. This is good stuff. Okay. So now we got the closed mouth, breathing in and out through your nose. So, advice number one I have for you. Breathe in and out through your nose as much as possible. You can breathe out through your mouth sometimes for sure, but don't breathe in through your mouth. There was a book came out last year, Breathe by James Nestor went over this very thing. You could get the book. I'm not going to go over it now. But the damage all that mouth breathing did with the experiments they tried. This is not new information. I already knew this, but it was good to see somebody else jumping into the game and giving great examples. So run out, buy that book, Breathe, or is it not Breathe? Breath. Breath. It's not Breathe. It's Breath by James Nestor. You can get it on Amazon. Now, what we're going to do is practice breathing deep into the bottom part of our lungs. That's that rest and digest, right? Now, here's an example of not very deep breathing. Here's what you'll often see. So you can see this. Many will, if you ask someone to take a breath, will go directly up in their chest, their shoulders will come up, will go, see if I can do it like that. Getting a short breath, not getting it down in the bottom of the lungs, and to tell you the truth, tightening up all those muscles in the neck, shoulders, until after years and years of that, it turns into a jumbled mess. Or it might be intercostal muscle, like thoracic rib breathing, where the ribs come out, and it just stays strictly here. The diaphragm down here, the main breathing muscle, is not really being utilized. So let's do that now. One more thing. The tongue position, believe it or not, makes a big difference. It causes a reflex. Take your tongue, put it against the roof of your mouth, right behind your teeth. Very lightly. You don't have to press it there hard. Just barely touch it there. Just hold it there. And we're going to breathe in through your nose. If you need to put your hands down here to feel, to tell the air to get down in the bottom of your lungs. Let's just try that. So no movement up here. Dead, just pretty much dead still up there. Down here. Let's try 2 more breaths. Ooh, that feels good. My head's already feeling better taking those breaths. Now, how did you do with that? What we're going to do now is take that air and hold our breath. Let's just try that, and I'll explain why we're doing that. So we're going to take the air in to the bottom like this and hold our breath. A very short time. Then exhale. Now we're going to try it again. Inhale. Exhale. Now there's a couple breathing tests you can give yourself, but I think that's going to be on a big Younger Than Last Year video that we're going to get shot later this year that you can actually purchase with all kinds of cool stuff in there. So I'm not going to give that one away. But we are going to do a breathing style called box breathing. I first saw this years ago, must have been 30 years ago. I'm thinking it was 92, 2, 12, almost. Yeah, about 30 years ago. Almost. And it was a breathing style that we used in yoga back when I was doing 2 hours of Ashtanga yoga almost every day. I was hardcore back then. And this is one of the many things I learned. Now, it wasn't box breathing, but it was this pattern I'm going to show you. So let's do this first. Box, B-O-X. It's called box breathing because it's like a 4-sided style of breathing. So like a box, kind of. Yes, I know a box has more than 4 sides. But if you look at a square on a piece of paper, think of it like that. So we're going to inhale through the nose. We're going to take about a count of, let's do a count of 3. Like this. 1, 2, 3, inhale. And then hold your breath. Relax your chest for a count of 3. Same count. 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to exhale, same count, 1, 2, 3. Then you're going to hold your breath, 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to repeat it again. Then we're going to repeat it a third time. So we're going to go through this box breathing 3 times. Here we go. Inhale. That's 3. Hold your breath for 3, 2, 3. Now exhale for 3. 2, 3. Now hold for 3. 1, 2, 3. And again. Remember, inhale for 3, hold for 3 after the inhale, then exhale, then inhale, then hold the breath. Sorry. Let me do that again. Inhale, count of 3, hold your breath for 3, exhale for 3, then after the exhale, hold your breath again for 3, then go to the inhale for 3. And just to make sure you don't take any breaths in, put your fingers over your nose like this and hold your hand over your mouth when you're holding your breath. Okay. Let's try that one more time. Inhale. So if you notice, there's only one of those parts where we actually breathe in. Everything else is either breathing out or holding your breath. Now, why do we do this? Because a lot of people are under the assumption, and you'll see this during sporting events where the players and the athletes, let's say of football, NFL guys, will take a little bit of oxygen in while they're on the sidelines. All right, maybe a little bit's not a bad idea, possibly, but your body has those two gas exchanges in it as we breathe. There's O2, oxygen, and there's CO2, carbon dioxide. So we take the oxygen in, right? The oxygen does its job, goes through the lungs, the blood takes up the oxygen, goes to the heart, and gets pumped throughout the body. When the oxygen's gone, the blood returns up through the heart, back to the lungs to get oxygenated again. Now, the blood that doesn't have oxygen in it, that's carbon dioxide blood. The blood, obviously, you know, red blood is the oxygen blood, blue blood is the CO2 blood. Well, there's an exchange between the two. If your body was pumped full of oxygen, it doesn't necessarily mean your body will use much of it, because it's the carbon dioxide being present that allows the oxygen to go in. It's taken up. If there's not enough CO2, the oxygen is basically just wasted in there. It's not used. So you need a buildup of carbon dioxide and oxygen. Some have found a little bit more than CO2 than oxygen tends to be even better. People have felt better. So why all that breath holding and stuff? Because your body's getting used to tolerating a little bit more, not in a really difficult way, that CO2 in there. So you can uptake the oxygen, and it's why you might start feeling a lot better. So we can set a clock for 5 minutes. I'm not going to do it because you don't want to sit here for 5 minutes doing this breathing, but I can take my stopwatch and start it for 5 minutes and just do box breathing. I personally like to do 4 or 5 breaths, 4 or 5 counts for each. So I'll take, let's say, 4 counts for the inhale, 4 counts for the breath hold after the inhale, 4 counts on the exhale, and then 4 counts on the hold after the exhale. Then right back to the inhale. And you just keep cycling through it and cycling through it until the 5 minutes is up. So let's try 2 more of those, and then I'll show you how you can incorporate this in other stuff. So it causes a slight bit of oxygen deprivation to build up a little more CO2 to start leveling them off. Let's see how you do. Inhale. One more time. I didn't hold my breath long enough. Let's try that long enough. Let's try that again. Here we go. So you get the idea of this. Now, we only did a couple of those. I'm feeling actually a little better in my head just from those couple. Try that for 5 minutes, even 10 minutes. Set your watch. When you can do 5 minutes well, set it for 10 minutes and try that sometime. You can incorporate this, though. Here's the beauty of this. While you're taking a walk, and you can use your steps to do it. I learned this trick many years ago from Systema breathing, where you do ladders. That's a whole other video, and build your breath up for more and more steps, inhaling and exhaling. So you can box breathe while you're walking. Let's say we do the 4 breaths. So you take an inhale for 4 steps. I'll just walk in place. You can do this. If there's a ton of snow outside, you could just walk in place and do this, right? You can march in place. I'll show you how to do a relaxing shaking, too, with this. So just walk in place, and here we go. Inhale for 4. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. Hold for 4. Try that again. Again. So if you want something more vigorous, you could march in place. And when I say march, you don't have to lift your leg way up in the air like this. 4 or 5 inches off the ground, and pump your arms. A lot of people just kind of swing their elbows like this lazily. Connect your arm to your body and swing it through your shoulder, especially back. Don't go any higher than your chin. So just get a march going like this. If it's good enough for different soldiers and the military and armies for the last couple thousand years, or 5,000 years, however long people have been marching, that's good enough for me. They have to be able to march like this for great distances, so they have to know how to breathe, especially with heavy armor and stuff on. We don't have any of that. We just got to breathe. So let's try 3 breaths, because I'm moving more vigorously now. So, inhale for 3. Hold for 3. Exhale for 3. Hold for 3. Again, inhale for 3. Exhale for 3. Hold for 3, sorry. Exhale for 3. Hold for 3. One more time. Inhale for 3. Hold for 3. Exhale for 3. Hold for 3. Whew, feels good. And I didn't even do the breath. Now, to shake things out, like I worked out earlier today, so I'm kind of tired up in my shoulders, in my legs. So sometimes I just like to bend my knees back and forth like this, with my upper body and everything else just loose. My arms are shaking. I'm not physically shaking them. It's the motion that's causing my arms to bob. They're like wet noodles. Same thing in here, my face, my back a little bit is loose. And we can do box breathing here too. Let's do 4. Here we go. Inhale for 4. 4 bobs. So it's 4 times we're going to bob. So just cut 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. So we'll go. Inhale for 4. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. Hold for 4. Keep doing that. Let's do that 2 more times on our own. Ready? Go. All right. So I highly recommend you try that. Get yourself breathing in the lower part, down here. Diaphragm, lower lungs, rest and digest, nothing but good stuff. Then, when you can do that, in and out through your nose, then you can start your box breathing with breath holds. Now, once you can do 4, you can work up to 5, 6, 7. Just don't go max with that one. You don't have to, unless you're very experienced. You can do that for walks outside. You can do that for if the weather's bad, marching or walking in place. You can do it for shaking like that. You can even try it before you go to bed when you're laying there. You can do it in the morning before you get out of bed. I highly recommend you do some deep breathing, some breathing practice before you get out of bed in the morning. If you got 5 minutes, I would say do it. I would also say take your resting heart rate every morning. Before we go on to the mindset thing, you can, I saw this from Steve Maxwell years ago, this app called Instant Heart Rate. There it is. I'm trying to bring it up on the screen. There it is. Instant Heart Rate. And all I got to do is put my finger over the camera lens, and it will read my heart rate. And what you want to do in the morning is take it the very first thing before you even sit up. Just reach over. I know they say not to keep your phone next to the bed, but keep it muted. Keep it face down so the light doesn't shine into the room during the night. Pick it up, activate instant heart rate, and take your resting heart rate. The morning is pretty much a true resting heart rate if it's the very first thing. After you do that for a week or two, you can generally get a baseline of what it is. And if it's 5 beats or higher than your baseline, you know you probably didn't sleep well, you ate something not that great, maybe you exercised too hard, maybe you're under a lot of stress. You got to take it easier that day. Maybe you do deeper breathing that day. Maybe some box breathing, right? Okay. That also covers rest and recovery, a little foundation number 3. But breathing, there are so many breathing methods out there that it's massively confusing because one person's saying one thing, one's saying the other. But there are certain things like this box breathing that you can always use. And depending on the situation, the needs of your breathing changes. If you're doing an aerobic activity or swimming, that would be similar maybe to box breathing if you're swimming, let's say. A little different because it's much faster breath and you're exhaling underwater usually. But you could use something similar there. If you're working on healing, like tight spots and things, that's a different type of breathing. If you are working on flexibility, mobility in your joints and your muscles, that's a little different too. If you're doing strength exercises, that kind of breathing is also somewhat different. If you're lifting very heavy objects, that's definitely a special kind of breathing. So it's not one size fits all. It's different sizes fit different situations. So I rarely do this, but one person, as far as mindset goes, that I've read throughout the years, watched a lot of videos. There's a bunch of videos of him on YouTube, was Jiddu Krishnamurti, who died in, I think, 1987, 88, something like that. You can go up and you can go read up on him. Go watch his videos. He was one of those unique people that was kind of born with a gift. He was just perception, and he was just able to, I've seen him described as being able to slice different problems in life, almost like with a razor thin edge, very logically, and he's just so perceptive and aware. His awareness and the sensitivity in his mind to see those things that we often miss, and just being at peace, because he's in. Well, I'm going to read you this passage. This has a lot to do with breathing. If you're breathing heavy, you might be kind of, and not down here, but up here in your chest, you might be stressed, and you don't even know why. Well, basic stuff, and this might sound like a foreign idea to you, especially in today's world, where we try to solve everything with either politics or religion or some idea or method, or we try to think our way through things. When really, we just come up, when we do that, with another idea, and we never really understand the nature of the thing. For instance, something like desire or sorrow, the very nature of those. Not the definition in Webster's dictionary, but understanding it at a much deeper level. So this is kind of cool. He had a book where some of the passages he wrote years ago, just observations he made. So it goes, how little we know about ourselves. We seem to know so much about other things. The distance to the moon, the atmosphere of Venus, how to put together the most extraordinary and complicated electronic brains. He was an Indian man, by the way, very learned though. To break up the atoms in the minutest particle of matter. But we know so little about ourselves. To go to the moon is far more exciting than to go into ourselves. Perhaps one's lazy or frightened, or it's not profitable in the sense of money and success to go into ourselves. It's a much longer journey than to go to the moon. No machines are available to take this journey, and no one can help. No book, no theories, no guide. You have to do it yourself. You have to have much more energy than in inventing and putting together parts of a vast machine. You cannot get this energy through any drug, through any interaction of relationship, nor through control or denial. No gods, rituals, beliefs, or prayers can give it to you. On the contrary, in the very act of putting those aside, in being aware of their significance, that energy comes to penetrate into consciousness and beyond. A little bit more. You can't buy that energy through accumulating knowledge about yourself either. Every form of accumulation and the attachment to it diminishes and perverts that energy. Knowledge about yourself binds, weighs, and ties you down. There's no freedom to move, and you act and move within the limits of that knowledge. He's not talking about, he's talking about kind of book knowledge, but also ideas, theories, the conditioning we've received as kids and that we've inherited from our ancestors, really, is what part of what he means there. Learning about yourself is never the same as accumulating knowledge about yourself. Learning is active present, and knowledge is the past. If you are learning in order to accumulate, it ceases to be learning. Knowledge is static. More can be added to it or taken away from it, but learning is active. Nothing can be added or taken away from it, for there is no accumulation at any time. Learning about yourself has no beginning and no end, whereas knowledge has. Knowledge is finite, and knowing is infinite. And I think what he kind of means to observe there, as far as learning goes, is, like they say, every minute dies, every minute is a new minute. Every day dies, every day is a new day. All the stuff that was accumulated, all the memories that we use to try to live the next day isn't much of it is not valuable anymore. Sure, the basic things like dangers, like not to stick your hand at a snarling dog or walk in front of a car or do something. We're not talking about those things. We're talking about more the psychological things that get us into trouble and make the world in the state it is today. But more, we're interested in you right now, because you and I, we share all the same things, wherever you're watching us from. And that's part of what learning is. Learning and seeing that, not getting it from a book or anything like that. What he means is to spend time, not busy time, accumulating more knowledge or working overtime day after day after day at a job or something that distracts you from the energy, that takes the energy you need to understand yourself in that learning type of way. And I don't know, I found for myself the only way to do that is to show up, take the time, and do it. You need some passion behind it. That's why number 7, the last foundation of Younger Than Last Year, is passion. It's that passion for life. Like you see an animal, they have it. Or even a tree, the way it just keeps growing and reaching to the sky. We share the same world with all those things. We all have that commonness sitting there that we never really observe. So, if even though you can do some things differently than me, and I can do some things differently than you, you can do some things better than me, I can do some things better than you. Underneath all that, we all have fear. We all have all the other things. It might be a different fear, but it's still the process of fear. So understanding that and all the other things, fear, desire, guilt, sorrow, joy, happiness, all those things. So now that might sound like a foreign language to you, but I encourage you to take some time to just be aware. Stop where you are and look around, just observe and see it like you haven't seen it before. It's new. This is a moment you've never been in before. And watch how your breathing gets easier. Your muscles relax when you do that. So it's all tied together. So I wanted to end that with some deep understanding. It's not thoughts so much, because it's not really about thinking. It's at a much deeper level than thinking can ever get us. So breathe, get yourself there. Sometimes breathing helps you stay in the present moment. No exercise today except for that little marching and some breathing exercises. I hope you take the breathing exercises. I need to do some stretching. Hope you take those breathing exercises and use them, try them. Like, give them a serious try. This is your life. So this is actually, I can kid around, we can all kid around, but it's serious. This is your life. This is have to treat it serious. So don't just slough it off and say, oh, I'll do that next week. You'll never do it. Try it right now. And if you can't do it right now, then make that commitment to yourself that tonight before bed or tomorrow morning when you wake up, you'll do it then. If you want to remember to do it, write a note, put it right next to your bed. Do it right now if you're at home. And treat it seriously the way it deserves to be treated. It's supposed to be. It takes time. It takes your effort and attention. And to be younger than last year does too. So speaking of that, I'm going to wrap this up by just saying, let's you and I do one thing each day over and over and over again to be younger than we were last year. I'll see you next week.